start up a conversation with Horace, but he's having a rough day of talking, so I'm just like, yeah, I'll do all the talking here, and we go up to a. Do we know where the library is, or I guess we go and talk to a guard, ask the
I mean,
guard
yeah.
where the
You find a
library's at, and
library.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, we walk in. What do we see as we walk in the library? And is it a big one? Is it a small one? What?
Um. Let's see. It's a little bit small for the size of the town, but it is open. You see a little bit of fire damage on one side of the building that looks like it's been dealt with appropriately.
Okay. And there are people inside. Someone's working here, I
Yeah,
guess.
there's a couple of monks walking around. I guess they would be called librarians, but they're monks.
Are they wearing just normal garb, or do they have like veracity on them or anything like that?
Yeah, normal everyday brown robes,
Humans?
humans, an
Okay.
elf too.
I'll walk over to the elf and
Hmm.
I'll approach him and be like, "Excuse me, sir. I need some help. Me and my elf here, my elf friend here, are looking to research red dragons. In particular, one of seems to have been around for many ages. Do you guys have any text here, any sacred texts about red dragons in particular?"
We have records from the Dragon War
Oh,
from way
perfect.
back when.
That'll do great. We're looking for perhaps specific information on unique dragons, not just dragons in general. But can you direct me to the to where these texts are?
Follow me. He leads you back ways, kind of towards the back right side of the room. Not all the way back though. And brings you to a section of books and pulls out four books for you, and then takes you guys to a table and sets them down. It says, "These are our books on dragons. Now, they cannot leave this place, and we have an agreement with the Lord Protector here that the library shall be untouched. So you
Absolutely,
must treat these books carefully, and you may not take them with you."
absolutely. Horace, why don't you get to reading through those? And I once again turn to the monk and ask. Now, one of the other things too, where we've heard of a temple of John, I think is his name. I kind of
He
play dumb as
nods.
I say that. First off, you seem to know of it? Do you know where that's located?
Yes, it's over behind yonder road, and he points out the door.
Oh, so it's here in this town.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You seem to have I seem to have not said the proper words. I'm looking for the Temple of John, not just a Temple of John. It's said to be a monstrous temple, one of the greatest in his name. Have you heard of it?
There's a large temple over in High Pond, but it's not one of the greatest.
What is it? What is it known for exactly? If it's not the greatest, how have you heard about it?
It's just the largest temple around for John. Every large city has theirs, and most small towns have temples of John. You must really not be from around here, dwarf.
Not at all.
He is the. I guess you dwarves would know him as Rock. We pray to him for crops and rain and that sort of thing. So it's a fairly common temple to be found about. High Pond is the largest city around, and they would have the largest temple, I would expect.
Do you know what is the reason that I ask about this and I ask about the dragons as well? Have you heard of a legend of a red dragon being controlled by an orb or having his soul trapped in an orb or anything in relationship to this Temple of John?
No, I'm afraid I do not know these things.
All right. Well, we'll be back over at that table if something sparks into your memory, let me know. We'll be over there reading.
Hmm.
And by the way, keep this information between the monks here and between you and I and my friend, if you don't mind. And I toss him. I'll toss him a sack of 50 gold.
His eyes kind of open, and he says, "You're not, you're not soldiers of Rossi, are you?"
Like, I'll be over at the table, sir. I kind of just walk off.
Okay.
And me and Horace start to read.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 10 minutes later, after you guys are reading, the same monk approaches you with two other monks. And they come up to you and sit down at the table. And then you hear kind of a door shutting somewhere. And they say, "Speak with us. And speak straight. You are not soldiers of Verasi, are you?"
I kind of raise my head and slowly look at them, and then turn to look at Horace, trying to see if I
Neil,
can read what he's saying or how he
do
feels about it.
these monks have V's, tabards with V's?
No, not at all.
There's nothing to indicate that they are.
Right.
Okay. You can keep going, JP. I just wanted to know that.
Sure. I turn back to the elf and be like, "Why do you ask? What's it to you?"
Well, if you're not working with Verasi, we may be able to help you more thoroughly. There are some underground chambers where we've stashed our most precious books to keep them away from this army. And if you're not with them, but you're wearing their clothing, you must be working against them. So I ask you again.
I turn to Horace and I kind of like I'm looking to him and wondering what he thinks about this situation. I don't know how I would. I guess that's what you get when I look at you.
Okay. You give me a look that says that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I don't know what that look is.
I look at the monks and I ask them where this knowledge is located.
In the basement, underground.
Show me show us where the entrance is.
We will take you there. And they walk with you.
Before we
they
go,
kind of like.
Before we go, how many are there? All the monks that we saw when we walked into this library with him, or is there?
No,
one
it's
missing?
just this guy and two others. You know that there are others about, and as you like walk through the stacks of books, you see them looking at you intently.
By the way, Neil, monks are they never do battle, right?
Well, that's kind of a broad statement. They are monks here to guard the libraries. They're librarians. They wear robes. Monk, in the sense, is not a warrior class distinction. It's more of a job description.
Okay. Are they built? Do they look like they have a warrior's build or a scholar's build?
Most of these guys all look like scholars. They do not
Okay.
look like combat people.
I kind of, as we're walking, I say, "Friend, we may be, we may not be with the army. Trust is something that is obviously pretty sacred amongst anyone these days. How can we trust you, and how can you trust us at this point in time? We need some sort of link here. Otherwise, we may be walking into a trap, or you may be walking into our trap. What can we do here to prove our worth, both ways?"
I think if you were working with Veracity, you would have said so immediately. You are unlike the other soldiers that have come through here. You are not gruff and disrespectful and demanding answers immediately.
So you seem to trust me. How can I trust you?
He looks at you and says, "What do you have to fear? If I wanted you dead, I would call the guards."
Do you trust all the other monks in here?
He nods. We've all been here a long time.
Fair enough. Before we go down, make sure that the monks up here know that another elf and a human might be coming in here looking for us. And if they do, please tell them that we're downstairs.
He nods and says,
other than that,
do they have names?
You'll recognize them easy enough.
Okay.
But let's go downstairs and show us what you have. So we follow him.
He takes you downstairs. Basement is a very kind word for this place. It's damp, it's dank, it's musty, it's dark. He's using a sputtering torch to lead you around, but even so, there's water dropping down from the ceiling, and there's like puddles along the way at points. It looks like this once was a different used for something completely differently, as there are, after walking down some halls and through some turns, you come to a room that's filled with hay on the floor and stacks of books. The hay has got a little bit of mold on it,
Okay.
and the books are, in bookshelves, but they clearly, it does not look like it was meant to hold books.
Okay.
He sits you down, or there's a small table there. He motions for you to sit. Well, he pulls out a really old-looking book that's bound in leather, that's kind of cracked along this back of it, with old brass hinges. The book is probably about this thick. He takes out this giant tome and just like thumps it down on the table and says, This is our oldest book regarding dragons and contains the most knowledge on them. I think you will probably find what you seek here. Now tell me, what is it that you need this information for, and how can we help?
I think for now we can look through this ourselves. You've already done more than enough. We'll wait for the other two to get here, and if they want to discuss what our goals are in life at this point in time, then we'll let you know. But like I said upstairs, trust is something that's hard to come by in these times, and at the moment, I'm still a little bit wary. And I start kind of thumbing through the book.
Okay, as you open it, you realize that these pages are old and delicate, and they kind of crack, and they seem brittle. Like if you're not careful, they will break.
Okay, well, I'll take my time with it then.
Mm-hmm.
And just I would assume if it's large, it's a large book.
Yeah.
Is it indexed in any sort of way? Like, can I skip straight to, like, I guess first off, what's the title of the book? Can I read what the title is?
A Treaty on Dragons.
Okay. Does it have any? I turn to the monk and be like, I don't have time to read this entire text. Do you happen to know where it speaks about red dragons or a special red dragon or an orb or anything like that? I'm sure you've read this before.
There are many books here. I have not had the opportunity to read this one myself. He comes over and starts kind of paging through it a little bit carefully. And he comes to a section and says, this here is about red dragons. The very back contains a list of dragons by name and all information known about them.
Perfect.
We keep it up to date as we learn more.
Perfect. I'll read through that entire thing. I turn to Horace and be like, and say, Horace, I'm not sure that the two of us can read this book together, so if you want to go upstairs and take watch and make sure that nothing fishy's going on, that'd be great.
I can do that. I can stand guard.
And I'm sure the other two will be here shortly, so just make sure you let them know what's going on and all that stuff.
All right, so Neal, I'll take up a post that watches Azrael's back, but also I can be on the lookout for Abigail and Vincent coming back.
Okay.
And I just read through the book, looking for information.
All right. So, what do you want to know?
I mean, I'm just looking for red dragons, red dragon with a relationship to an orb, Saint.
So you get this big, nice, fat chapter on red dragons. It ends with a couple of blank pages, and it looks like the last page of it is more recently written. It looks like it's written by someone else. Instead of being finely printed, it's a little bit more cursive or what do you call it? Calligraphy-like.
Okay.
And it just talks about, the red dragons, their demeanor, their, just various things about them, how they relate to other dragons, how they're a little bit different, how they're a little bit the same, blah, 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 their favorite climates, their tendencies.
Does it have anything with in relationship to the name of Fog?
No. But
what about Smog, his brother?
The penultimate page, the page that is the page that's still in the writing of the original author says, see the end of the book for a complete list of red dragons by name.
Okay, well, I'll go to the end of the book.
Okay. End of the book. There's a list of red dragons. First 30 or so are all written in one script, and then there's like another 5 in another script, and 3 more in a different one, and then 2 more in the second script. And it looks like a lot of people have come and entered things. A lot of the names are crossed out. Not a lot. You count 45 names, and of those 45, 20 are crossed out. Just have like a single line through them. And then there's still like the description of the dragon nearby. The name Fog and Smog are not in the list.
Okay. Is there like an index in the back of this thing?
No.
I mean, I guess I'll just read through the chapter on red dragons, however long that takes until the rest of the party gets here.
Okay.
And you can go to Vincent.
Vincent, where are you?
Okay, so walking to the wizard, am I noticing like is this a very reluctantly occupied town? Like, is there people being shoved out of their houses or subjugation going on? Is it that overt?
I mean, no one's being shoved out of their houses, but you can definitely see the way that people look at you as you walk through town makes you feel dirty and gross.
Okay. Then I knock on the wizard's door and see if he responds.
There's an answer.
There isn't an answer?
There is an answer. Sorry.
Oh. Okay. Does he open the door?
Yeah, it's come in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I kind of come in, give him a little bit of a inquisitive look, kind of look around his store, and say, "Evening, friend. I was hoping to ask you a few things and pursue your services."
Oh, it's one of you. What do you need?
Yes, one of us. Look, I'm from a town over, and I was wondering how are you guys treated here with the army of Veracity? And I'm not looking to cause any trouble with you. I'm honestly think of me as I'm kind of like their PC guy. Like I'm here to make sure you're being treated within parameters that we've established. How do you feel today?
I thought you were saying you're like
Excuse
the
me?
guy from the commercial who's
He's from Human Resources.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm from Human Resources.
I'm afraid I don't really understand. How am I being treated?
Well,
Well, you came through and sacked my city. You took my wife. My son is dead. Many of my neighbors are no longer here. They've either been sold into slavery, have joined you guys, or have been killed. Let's see. I'm pretty upset with it.
yeah.
If I were to file a complaint, it would say "do not recommend."
Well, let's just say I'm the right guy for you to file a complaint with. Now, when we, well, let me phrase this correctly. When people fight for Veracity, you said they're sold into slavery or they join up. Are these people willfully joining, or how does that process work? We did it very differently at Town Over. That's why I'm asking. Of course.
What do you need? What is this all about? Am I in trouble here?
Friend, you could be in as little of trouble as you've been since the Veracity army has shown up. I'm just simply asking these questions, and if you answer me honestly, then perhaps better times are ahead for you.
Yeah, some people join up. Some people get sold in slavery to go work in mines. Till the fields. Some people get killed outright just for fun. Murders happen every day.
And then you said they took your wife.
Yeah.
Why did they take your wife?
Why do you think?
Well, I guess that's why I'm asking. Did they do it because you weren't being compliant, or because she wasn't, or how's that work?
Because they were young and drunk and horny.
Well, I kind of closed the door. I mean, I'm assuming it's already closed, but I just like kind of make sure that it's closed, and I look at him and I say, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna take a risk. Let's pretend for a second that this tabard that I'm wearing I don't give a shit about it. In fact, it's not really. I'm just wearing it to get into this town. Let's pretend for a second that I could be one of the people that's looking to bring the Verasi army down. Would you be interested in helping me?
He looks at you for a long while and says, "No, I don't think so."
Understandable. They've already taken so much from you. Forget I ever said anything, but if you do change your mind, we'll be in town for another day or two. And if you have any reason to question what I said to be true, I don't blame you. Terrible things have been done to you. Then I perhaps judge the next questions that I ask you, and let me know if you want to rethink that. I have a couple of questions for you. One, need to know as much as you can share about a red dragon by the name of Fog. Two, there is a Temple of John over in some pond. What is that pond called? High Pond? And supposedly there's an orb of quite repute there that I need to know about. So these are the things I've come to look at. The other questions I've asked are also of importance because I'm looking into how Verasi operates, and I need to know as much as I can. So as comfortable as you are with answering all of the above, you would be of great importance and help to me. And I would pay you for your time, of course.
What was the first question again? What do I know about a red dragon?
A red dragon by the name of Fog, yes.
Never heard of it.
Some people know him as Smog.
Never heard of it.
It's basically the same thing. No, never heard of him?
Never heard of him.
What about this Temple of John over in High Pond in the Orb?
I don't know anything off the top of my head about it, but there is a Temple of John over in High Pond.
Yes, we've established that. You know nothing then, and you have no text on this.
I mostly deal in the arcane. I leave the divine to the priests and the scholars.
Ah, very good. So you recommend then that I should go to the local town of John and ask them about their lore of that temple?
Yes.
Okay. One last thing then, I guess. Wish I could say you've been most helpful, but so far you've been guarded, understandably so. We have these scrolls that we took off the hands of some rather nefarious characters. Do you mind interpreting them, if you can? And I hand them over to him.
He looks at them and says, they're written in the language of magic. These are spells.
And it would, once someone commands that language and is able to read these scrolls, they'll have those spells. Do I understand that correctly?
You'd need a wizard to cast them.
Okay. And only a wizard, not a cleric or anybody of another magical...
No.
Okay.
No.
Are you interested in purchasing these scrolls, then?
How much are you offering for them?
There's 2 scrolls, right?
3.
3? Why don't I actually give this one to you, and I hand one to him, as payment for your time, but also let's just say it's my way of saying I'm sorry for what has been done to you. And I'm giving this to you blindly. I have no idea. It could be the spell to turn back time, or it could be the spell to destroy dragons, for all I know. But I want you to know that I feel deeply and sorry for what has been done to you, and I wish there was more I could do if you would allow me to. But as it is, I understand enough has been done to you. The other 2, if you could tell me, and again, this is my trust to you, you can make an offer. You can tell me what you think they're worth.
I wouldn't know what they're worth unless I read them.
Why don't you spend some time with him and tell me that then?
Okay. He walks back behind his counter and chants a little bit of a spell and then starts reading the scrolls. And it takes a few minutes to get through it, and he says, okay, these are all fairly basic scrolls, the common things that basically any apprentice could do. I could write these scrolls myself. I have no need for them.
Okay, so you're not interested then?
No, I could write them down now.
Understandable. Well,
I'd give you a few copper for them if you wanted.
No, that's quite fine, friend. I'm sure we can find of other use for them. Well, I guess if they're that basic, then... Nah, it's fine. I'll take them back anyways. I tried, but is there anything you still are we still on the same foot here? You don't trust me, don't want to help, that kind of thing.
You say those are not your tabard? That's not your blood on it?
No, I'm going to be honest. I'm not very good at this whole subterfuge thing. I'm Prince Vincent Longborn, and I'm trying to kill all the Barassi scum that I can.
And you're here.
I'm here because there's a
Rivervale?
giant fucking red dragon just a few miles away, and we're trying to kill that too. I've got a lot of shit on my plate, as you can tell. A lot of red and black and white shit. It's bloody.
Trying to kill all the. There's a lot of.
Well, no,
Rossi
of course
here.
not everyone. If we could just remove the leadership and then probably kill a god, that's what we'll do.
Move the leadership. The one they sickeningly call Uncle Oris.
Uncle Oris, that sallow little prick. Yes.
Oh, he came through here the other day.
Yeah,
Slobbering,
I would.
useless person. They hear he was once a hunchback too.
He's standing a little bit more upright these days, is he?
Yeah, you've seen him before.
Well, I would have seen the hunchback version of this fellow.
Well, he's as twisted as they come.
That's too bad. That's we feel a little bit of ownership to that. We were part of the reason why he is what he is now, so we're trying to undo this.
Well, I wish I could help you. I haven't heard of a red dragon named Fog. I have heard of a. The elves have a legend about a dragon named Fog, though, but it wasn't red. I don't recall anything about it other than recognizing the name. Of course, it was in Elven at the time, but the translation would have been Fog.
That's helpful. That's a trail. Thank you. I guess I would, now that we have this, I would ask that you don't tell anyone who I am, as I need to keep up this facade for a while. Before I do, though, truly this is the first town I've entered that's been under occupancy, so I'm trying to find out as much as I can. Does one lord or commander or something command each town? Is that how this works?
No, the towns are broken up into regions. The Lord Protector here takes everything from Rivervale down to Marydale, out to Ferendor in the east and Cherendar in the west. It's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cities under his control.
And he's actually located here.
No, he lives in Blackcrest to the
Blackcrest.
east.
Very
West.
good. We've seen a lot of dragons coming about during this time of war. Do you know if the Barassi army is working with the dragons themselves?
Yes.
They
Absolutely.
are.
Absolutely. I saw a whole flight of white dragons maybe a week and a half ago.
Okay. Do you have any news about some of the towns that are holding out, like Highclare's Tower or anything like that? Last we were in this land, they were fending off the Barassi. They've fallen.
Palanthas has fallen. Highclare's Tower has fallen. Last I heard, in the south, Atrilla was still fighting, but who knows if that's still there. Tide's End is still standing, but the west is being slowly crushed. In the east, I don't know.
You haven't heard of the elves and what they've been doing then?
No one's heard any word from the east in weeks, many weeks.
Okay.
The elves may be gone. Their forest may be burned. They may be intact. No one knows.
Well, I wish that scroll was of higher value, friend. I truly would wish I could have given you something. Would gold go anywhere? Would that help you?
There's a knock at the door at this point. And
go ahead and answer. That's fine. We don't need to continue to make
kind
this
of nods and says, "Come in." And you see an officer walking in, accompanied by 2 guards. And he walks up to the mage, kind of shoves you out of the... Not even, like, tries to avoid you, but literally, like, walks up to you, puts a hand on your shoulder, and just pushes you out of the way. And walks up to the mage and... Yeah, starts talking to him.
Vincent's not used to that, so he kind of steps back, or he gets shoved back, rather, kind of collects himself, and then he says, "Excuse me, friend. Was I in your way?"
The officer ignores you entirely. Completely ignores you.
All right. Thank you, wizard. You can tend to this brigand here. It would seem that he's having a rough day, and with a face like his, I imagine a lot of his days are utter shit. I'll be gone now.
He turns to the guard on his left and says, take him out back and chop his head off.
I close the door.
All right. JP?
Yeah, we'll take a break. It's been 1 hour exactly, so sorry. We'll be back after 3 minutes. We'll see you guys then.